Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this morning's Business 101. As a topic this morning, as we all know, IOPSA has certain key components in terms of the operations of the Institute of Plumbing South Africa. And today, I just felt that we get a presentation from Lorraine in terms of the relationship manager position, in terms of what it is that she does and how it benefits you, the plumber, in terms of all of these engagements that we have with different sectors. And some of these entities that Lorraine's going to be talking about are maybe something new, but they all link back to us as the plumbers. So I think it's going to be a key component in terms of our Business 101 today, just to get an understanding of what actually happens behind the scenes. We often hear and see, and this will just give you an insight in terms of those engagements that Lorraine has in terms of benefiting the plumbing fraternity as well as the consumer in South Africa. So Lorraine, lock and load.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Lorraine Moy. As I'm the IOPSA National Relationship Manager, I'm also a licensed plumber and a compliance auditor. And the current role that I hold in IOPSA as a relationship manager has just come together in terms of the fact that we had different engagements with different organizations, and we decided just to consolidate it into one person doing all of that. So what usually happens, and I just wanted to take it a step backwards, is that the fact that most people, when they think of a plumber, they think of us as plumbers. They just think of us in one-dimensional. They don't understand exactly the intricacies that goes into becoming a plumber and remaining a plumber, and and our profession as a whole. And the engagements that I've had with quite a few of these organizations, number one, they're quite surprised that we are so organized as plumbers. Because the fact is, they think that we're just running around with our, excuse me, with our butt cracks hanging out. But the thing is this, there's a lot more that is involved in being a plumber. And, you know, a lot of the time is that certain legislations and certain plans are put in place. Like to take, for instance, the water and sanitation master plan, which talks about water and for the next 10 years and their plans for infrastructure, but are not at any point is the plumber mentioned. So it's all great that you're going to have your engineers, you're going to have your scientists, you're going to have every other person in the value chain, but you're not going to have the people that are actually going to make the taps work. And that's one of the discussions that we've been having with water and sanitation, is that it's all fine and well for you to make up these fantastic plans, but not include the people that it's relevant to at the end of the day. I think very few of us actually know that from 2020 to 2030 is actually the decade of the plumber. And but they haven't involved us in any way, shape, or form. And this is where my starting point is. And every conversation that I have is that I want to try to make them understand exactly the value of the professional plumber and why we are what we are. And the fact of the matter is that when you use individuals that are competent, that are licensed, that are qualified, and have companies that are registered with associations which align with all of those values, you are then not putting the consumer at risk. Because the fact of the matter is that there's a very big difference between us, the professional plumber, and the guy who's standing outside builders. The fact of the matter is that we have gone through the trenches, we understand why we do what we do, and we do a lot to maintain our professionalism. And that's another thing, is that the plumbing trade in itself is not seen as a profession where we are. I mean, we are aligned to a professional body. So it's also changing perceptions and also making them understand that we are not just here as placeholders and you call us when you mess up things. Because at the end of the day, they create these plans and at the end of the plans don't work. We got involved with another project last year with another organization where they want to install however many solar geysers, but then we made them understand, you know, solar geyser is not just stick it in and be done with it. Solar is a specialization in the plumbing field, and that to them was news. So it's a long slog, but the fact of the matter is that we're trying to get our voice out there. We're trying to get people to understand. So just to put in perspective, these are some of the organizations I've been dealing with. I've been in this role for the past 6 months. So these are some of the organizations that I've been dealing with. As you can see, I've got Water Institute of Southern Africa, Water Research Council, the South African Institute of Civil Engineers, Department of Human Settlements, Department of Water and Sanitation, the Housing Development Agency, the National Building Control Forum, and South African Women in Construction. So let's have a closer look at these organizations. So the Water Institute of South Africa, we have just signed a 3-year MOU with them, which they're very involved in the professionalization of the trades and professionalization of individuals in the water sector. And when I had the initial discussion with the CEO, Mr. Lester Goldman, he didn't really understand the fact that the plumbers had gotten to a point where we had an association, we had a professional body, and what it encompassed and what it was, how we became these individuals. So they very much are on board now with trying to make sure that the professional plumber is something that's included in discussions. The Water Institute, a lot of their members are Department of Water Sanitation, the water boards, the different water organizations. So that it's a good springboard for us in terms of having these discussions and making sure people understand that the plumber cannot be left out when discussing issues that pertain to the plumber. So our relationship with the Water Research Commission came about because we had initial discussion with them, and they started telling us about the non-sewer sanitation that they're very involved in. And we hadn't realized at the time that actually there was a standard, 3500, that speaks to non-sewer sanitation, and had been published in 2019. So what we're doing now with the Water Research Commission is we put together a technical committee in terms of trying to understand and unpack the non-sewered space. It's quite intricate, it's quite involved. It's a very specialized field, and it's something that that Human Settlements actually is looking into and expanding in the next couple of years, and utilizing non-sewered sanitation instead of our traditional sanitation. So for us as our IOPSA, it was very important that we get involved with this initiative and get a full understanding of what it is, because once it gets out into the market, the very first place that plumbers are going to look to get an understanding about it is us. So we're working closely with them in the next couple months so we can put together a proper program to actually take out to the market and people to understand what non-sewered is, what it entails, and the different methods, because there's quite a few different methods to it. Quite a few international funders are funding the research into non-sewered sanitation. So it's something that's going to be very, very big in the next couple of years, and we are trying to get ahead of it. And also in terms of water research, we're doing a few research papers that we can't discuss at this moment, but in terms of the plumbing industry, the water, because the last research paper they did was 2018, and quite a few things have changed between then and now. So we're working on another research paper with them, and also the role not only just of the plumber, but also of the whole value chain in the water sector. So there was a discussion that was had about 4 months ago, and with the South African Institute of Civil Engineers, where they were discussing the master plan. And I then requested to them if we could have a chance to actually discuss what the plumbing industry is and what we're doing at the moment. So next week, Thursday, I've got a presentation to the committee in terms of unpacking what the professional plumber is, what it means, and the fact that, you know, we are a valuable member of the value chain. We will see where that relationship leads, but they're very excited in terms of having this discussion with us and also finding out exactly what we're doing as an industry. Then in terms of the government departments, we are working closely with water and sanitation. I've had a few discussions with them with regards to the water, obviously water issues, plumbing issues, and the fact that they don't speak to the plumber at all, even though they've earmarked this the decade of the plumber. We didn't know about it, and we're getting to the party late. So it's obviously, as you know, with government, you have to keep it going at it every bit by bit. But the fact of the matter is that we want as an industry for them to understand the importance of the plumber, the importance of the professional plumber, the importance of the individuals that have gone out there and have trained themselves and continue to upskill themselves in different ways, and the value of those individuals. So in terms of the Housing Development Agency, they'd actually started late last year to insist on a certificate of compliance. And after our initial meeting, they really want to work and they want to utilize the IOPSA membership, because for them it makes sense to use plumbers that are IOPSA registered, number one, because all the checks and balances are there. So we're currently finalizing an MOU with the Housing Development Agency with regards to that. We've reached out to the National Building Control Forum because, as we know, local authorities have certain difficulties, and local authorities, everybody's a chief in their own little domain. So in terms of discussing it in our national forum with all the heads of the different BCOs, we want to send out a way for them to upskill themselves to get a better understanding of the plumbing standards, because at the end of the day, a lot of them and a lot of government departments and a lot of other associations don't understand what the standards do and why the standards are in place. And the building and the BCOs don't have a firm understanding of certain parts of the plumbing industry and the certain plumbing components, like the health, the different specializations that we have. And for us, it's more of a assistance with them, because we want to work together to make sure that we don't have these difficulties, and we know it's a long road, but we are committed to the fact that we want the local authorities to understand the importance of the professional plumber and the role of the certificate of compliance in the whole scheme of things. Then we also started discussions with another association called the South African Women in Construction and the Built Environment. They have a very close relationship with Department of Human Settlements. They have the president is quite one of the advisors to the minister. So in discussions with them and exactly what's going on in the difficulties of construction industry, we've gotten to a point where we are now on a trajectory to do more work with the human settlements and kind of get a better understanding of why compliant products, compliant individuals are needed, to make sure that there's not this waste that's just been happening for the last, or since democracy started, actually. And that's why this relationship with them is so important. And we just started it, and we foresee some good things with this relationship. Well, that's my little song and dance. But at the end of the day, what I want everybody to understand from this whole presentation and what I actually do, it's it's a lot of knocking on doors. It's a lot of trying to get to the right individual, because thing is, us as plumbers, our voice needs to be heard. People talking at us and not talking to us has caused more problems than anything else. You look at the different projects that have happened in the last couple of years, where the plumber we were only brought in right at the end. And a lot of that would have been mitigated if they had the discussions with us from the beginning. And hence why for us, it's so important to try and get into these different associations, the government departments, because we want to make sure that we are part of the discussion and we are able to give our opinion as the plumbing industry. So we don't get, like I said, they don't talk at us, they talk to us. Steve, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I think, Lorraine, for as much as you're knocking on doors, we've also got those departments that are knocking on our doors. So it's quite a dual road that we're traveling on. And I think, the key for me is that, with all my years within IOPSA is it's encouraging to see the participation from different sectors involved that have an impact on plumbing, that are coming to the source, or to the horse's mouth, if we want to call it that, to be able to get that guidance. I think a lot of departments have ran the gauntlet on their own, and had some challenges. And for us, sometimes that's been very positive because, again, it's a learning curve in terms of, okay, where do we go now? So I think in essence, all of these things, as I said to you earlier this morning, they all knit together. It's just bringing all of these different departments together and individuals to make plumbing better. And I think it really is encouraging, although we see all these waffle names, but each one of them has an impact in terms of what it is that we do from a construction point of view, how it impacts the consumer, the deliverable of the expectation of the client. For example, as you spoke about solar water heating systems, we've all heard of projects that have gone totally south, and that's no pun intended with the solar. But, again, you get to a point of where that participation in terms of getting a better understanding from the plumber or the plumbing fraternity in terms of how they impact positively on these specific projects. And again, it's, as you said, with this non-sewage sanitation, I mean, it's something that the mind sits there and has to grasp. But these are new technologies that are going to come to the fore as we move forward with new technologies in the plumbing fraternity and finding solutions to problems. Our engagement right from the get-go is important because it's another avenue for plumbers, to be able to broaden their company in terms of being specific, in terms of these different projects. So yeah, it's quite exciting to see how things are developing and going in that sector. And let's not forget, it's for the betterment of the environment and the consumer.
Definitely, Steve, definitely. So thank you for everybody who was able to attend today. And as for us, if there are particular departments or associations you'd like us to look into, please drop me an email anytime. Or my email address is lorrainem@iopsa.org. And so that we can start building those relationships too. It's imperative to us that we not only look at it as in Gauteng, because I'm based here, but nationally, because at the end of the day, all of us are in the same boat here, and we need to make sure that the message goes out that we are professionals and that there are standards. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think Lorraine, yeah, Kareem, I think it really is important that if any of those in attendance today have some, contacts or anything that they would like us to engage with, is to please let us know. And then again, to all in attendance and to Kareem and Lorraine, thank you very much for today. And let's keep it safe. I see the numbers are climbing again. So let's just keep our masks on, sanitize, and look after ourselves and our family. And then take care, and we'll chat soon.
Thank you, everyone.